Yeah, it only makes sense that the first comic I review in October should be a new horror series. Hello, everyone. I'm Navik, and on this episode of Navik's Comic Reviews, we're covering Hyde Street Issue 1, a new ongoing horror series. Piece from Jeff Johns' Ghost Machine. It's written by Jeff Johns with beautiful art by Ivan Reyes and coloring by Dan Miki. And yeah, I've talked about Ghost Machine before in the past when it comes to the unnamed, Geiger, Junkyard Joe. Oh, but yeah, both Geiger and Redcoat, they're a bit ways into their runs, and once they're hitting like issue 7 this month. But I still wanted to cover Ghost Machine because I really support what they do with like giving creators complete rights to the characters they create for the comics. But so yeah, and Hyde Machine seemed to be the right place to go since, well, I'm kind of a bit of a horror fan myself. Now, what exactly is Hyde Street? Well, the best way I could describe it is imagine if several supernatural horror movie characters had to live on the same street, and they were all controlled by or bonded together by some unseen supernatural entity. And well, or as the opening blurb says, it is a street just around the corner, both familiar and unknown. A street branching off every small town square and cutting through every big city avenue. It is a place where the wicked and cruel are drawn to the crossroads of morality and madness, with the inevitable destination not merely death, but something far worse. This is the street of men and monsters. It is a place we call Hyde Street. And Hyde Street's pretty creepy. Like basically, for all my Doom Patrol fans, it's kind of like an evil version of Danny the Street. And yeah, before I get into the story and what exactly Hyde Street is I should probably point out the obvious. The art on this book is absolutely gorgeous, which makes a lot of the more horrifying stuff even more horrifying. Ivan Reyes did not sleep on this book because there's so much detail in all his work. From this arc, I love how he draws the smoke in some pages, and yeah, this detail makes a lot of the horror scenes even more horrifying. Though I want to highlight some of my favorite parts from this book. Like first off, this shot out of this character, Mr. X-Ray's office from back when he was a human like. And like you could, damn, Ivan Reyes did not skip out on putting all the small details on all the little stuff on his desk. That's because, as you can see, like his office feels very lived in. And of course, it's really interesting because Ivan Reyes has mostly been known for his DC superhero work. But yeah, now he doesn't have to limit himself to just drawing characters who are supposed to fit a superheroic mold. Oh, this book basically just feels like he's taking what he learned from more horror based stuff like Blackest Night and condensing it into a new ongoing series. And again, and also a major shout out to Danny Miki's colors because as they make everything Ivan Reyes' artwork really pop out. And I especially love this bit near the end of the book where you see Mr. X-Ray's eyes, this crazy red swirl like something out of Uzumaki, and how it just gets closer and closer until we get a massive 2-page spread. And it makes you feel like you're staring into something really crazy and weird. But as for what Hyde Street is like I said, it basically exists as a place where evil residents punish the wicked. For example, this kid, Pranky, the world's most dangerous Boy Scout, appears to punish this old woman who Pranky says poisoned and her daughter and her husband, and with cyanide. And then specifically, he claims that he goes after those who harm children, especially people who harm their own children. And though what's going to be interesting about the series going forward is that the residents of Hyde Street each have their own unique dynamics with each other. For example, Mr. X-Ray, our character that we follow throughout the book and who gives the initial narration, and he does not like Pranky at all. Mr. X-Ray, from what I can tell, seems like the kind of person who will follow the rules of Hyde Street, who will give his potential victims a chance to understand their sins, possibly escape Hyde Street. But Pranky, he doesn't give people that option. He just straight up kills them, and yeah, basically acts like a spoiled brat, and he's rewarded for it by the mysterious entity that controls Hyde Street called the Scorekeeper. And one of the most interesting thing about Hyde Street is that all of the residents who are supernatural horror movie monsters, at one point, they were just normal people. Well, and yeah, this issue we basically get the origin of Mr. X-Ray, who back in the 1960s, 1966 specifically, he was basically one of those con men who put like magazine ads for X-ray specs, sea monkeys, these and all that other fake crap you used to see in old horror comics. And yeah, we see that even before he was a resident of Hyde Street, he was a real piece of work. He did not give a crap about scamming kids out of their money because he thinks kids are stupid. And when his partner addresses concern about this, actually displaying a sense of morality, Mr. X-Ray is all too willing to bring out a lot of his partner's deepest shames out in the open, basically taunting him that, you say you're going to jump, but you're not really going to. But of course, this turns on its head when his latest scam about selling a pet monkey through the mail ends up going wrong, because obviously it's a monkey. It's an animal that was brought through the package, and yeah, it goes crazy and ends up falling to its death. And we later learned via narration that was this guy's last straw, and he actually did jump. While Mr. X-Ray, he just reacts all blasé. Hey, saying, well, at least it was quick. And we see that even all these years later on Hyde Street, the monkey is still tormenting him. So yeah, the residents of Hyde Street are probably aren't free from facing their sins either. And we actually get to see a bit of what led Mr. X-Ray to Hyde Street. Not exactly how he became a resident, but how he first encountered it. And he came across a girl who's been revealed to be his daughter. He kind of snaps at her, saying that he never wanted a kid. And the girl runs away, though we do see the girl Judy runs away, though we do see a bit of humanity in Mr. X-Ray. Unfortunately, that's where he met one of the residents of Hyde Street, and of course it was Pranky, which probably goes a long way to explaining why these two hate each other. And yeah, we learn that X-Ray, his whole thing is that he was turned into a resident by the Scorekeeper, who basically claimed that he will serve him if he wants a way back. So there is a chance Mr. X-Ray can escape Hyde Street. Like in the last page, he says, I will escape Hyde Street, even if it means damning 10,000 others to do it. So yeah, this is a story of no clear-cut heroes and villains. And it's a story about monsters, just some being a bit more moral than others. Because, according to Mr. X-Ray, before he became a resident of Hyde Street, he wasn't so good, but the people he's encountered here, they make his past seem as harmless as a lemonade stand on a hot summer's day. And soon enough, we're going to meet some of them. And man, yeah, we actually do get hints of some of them earlier during the issue, where he passes by a place called Fat Free where we see this conversation happening, and that's probably related to the Devour one-shot that's going to be coming out later this month. And even some guy escaping from a doctor that he doesn't want to be operated on. And yeah, it does get the feeling that there's different horror stories happening all over Hyde Street. Yeah, the real interest, and yeah, of course, since we know, this raises the question about the other residents. What did Pranky do in order to become a resident of Hyde Street? Because he seems like he was a kid, he acts like a kid, and he even hates adults like a lot of kids do. He lives in a treehouse. So yeah, what did this kid do to make him a resident of Hyde Street? And as we see from the Scorekeeper's scoreboard, or being one of the most successful residents of Hyde Street, killing over 18,000 people. And yeah, and yeah, we do. And yeah, this does raise the question of who exactly the scorekeeper is. Why is he keeping score? And if he has specific rules for him how Hyde Street works, why is Pranky getting rewarded for, as Mr. X-Ray pointed out, seemingly breaking a bunch of them? Though, again, Mr. X-Ray could be an unreliable narrator. Like I said, this isn't a story with heroes and villains, it's a story with monsters as our characters. But yeah, according to the preview blurb, we are going to learn the tragic and terrible tale of Pranky in the next issue. So maybe some of these questions will be getting answered. But I'm really intrigued with what's going on with this book. It's rare you. I've been wanting to pick up some horror ongoing series for a while. Oh, and I'm down for Hyde Street again. I love Jeff Johns' writing. He has great characterization with some of these horror characters. First, the art team does an amazing job. And I am really curious about the true nature of Hyde Street and everything that's going on. And obviously, I want to see what other crazy residents live on the street. I'm giving this issue a 4 out of 5 only because as it does. Maybe it could have been a bit longer as an initial first issue, and could have used a bit more clarity on some things. But overall, this is a really good book and a really impressive issue 1. If you're a horror fan, I highly recommend it. If Blackest Night was your favorite DC comic event, this is basically going to be that, but on an ongoing scale, with all the gruesome imagery and dark sense of humor you can want, or dark twisted sensibilities you can want. Anywho, I'm Navik. Thank you for watching the Navik's Comic Reviews. I'll see you next time.